Hello, how are you doing? Just gonna sit a little more comfortable here. Hello, I hope you're doing well. So, I'm gonna talk about doing less makes you better at what you do. So, in my world, I'm in the music world, but this principle you can apply on any worlds because everybody's fed up with the same kind of lie, in my opinion. And I'm only talking from experience, so I don't want no bitches coming up saying, hey, you can't say that. I mean, I can't. Because I'm only talking from experience, and I want you to have the experience because I just want stuff works for me, and I want it to work for you too, because I know it will. Because these are principles applied from books which are called Deep Work and the 4 Hour Work Week. Really good books, like top notch. And what do they say in these books? They say that quantity, okay, so quantity is not better than quality. And when it comes to doing workload and the amount of time you put in, the amount of time you put into something to get better at something. So, what most people, in my opinion, in my world, where I'm from, which is the music world, um, so I play jazz guitar, and you can imagine that world. I mean, people want to get good at their instruments. And what do people do then? Well, there's only one thing to do, and that's practice for 15 hours a day, because that's what Charlie Parker did. So that's basically what people, the most people, think and do. So these books, they go through, they go through like a way of thinking that's more focused on productivity and actually like reducing the workload so much that it's even like it feels kind of weird doing that less work, but the results actually like is so much far greater, so much far greater. Great English, Armin. No, but the real results are so much better than if you just like go practice for 12 hours. I'm gonna tell you a story. So you know when you like have a day off and you're like gonna put that day off to do what you want to do. So in my case, oh yes, now I can practice for the whole day. So I have like a whole day to only practice. So I have, let's say, I'm planning in my head, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do 12 hours of practicing. So I'm gonna do 3 hours of that, 2 hours of that, 1 hour of that. And like, you know, you get like hyped up because you can do so much things because you have so much time. And the day comes and you've done nothing. I mean, you kind of like warm up. You're like, okay, you warm up, and then you like keep warming up, and then you like keep noodling, and then 3 hours have passed, and then you're like, okay, maybe I should do an exercise. You do that exercise, and you check your phone, and you're like not focused at all, and then like 5 hours has passed, 6 hours have passed. You're like, okay, well, I've been practicing for 6 hours. No, you haven't, bitch. And then you like, so you're like, you think you've practiced for 6 hours, but you actually have been so unfocused and not doing anything productive. So you kind of like reward yourself and like go do some other stuff, and then you like come back, and then you know the drill. So that's one kind of thing that happens when you have a lot of time on your table, when a lot of time on your plate, it's called. Uh, and then you have the other scenario, which in my experience is like the best one, which is like, okay, so you have a packed day, you have shit to do. So you're going to school, you're going to work, you're gonna help your mom, you're gonna do laundry, you're gonna do all those shit. and you have this like space of 1 hour, 45 minutes, like 45 to 1 hour. You have a limited time. So you structure that time for practicing. And you're like writing down what you want to do. And you're like so focused because you know that if you're not doing these 45 minutes and you're not focused, then you won't get anything. You won't learn anything because you know that, okay, my day is packed, so I have to do this right now. And when you actually like sit down and you have that written down and you know that your day's packed and you're like in that flow of making shit because you have to like get shit done during the day, everything becomes so like productive. And you're like sitting there, you're focused, you're doing exactly what you want to do. So that makes that 45 minute of practice much more productive than that 12-hour day which you were like putting up for practicing. So that's basically what these books are saying. I mean, it's not rocket science, it's just like reduce the time, increase the productivity. And they also talk about like putting up deadlines. So deadlines are like the best thing ever for your mind and for your productivity. Like putting up a deadline makes you like, okay, this has to be done. Because all your life, you've always had deadlines putting up, like teachers have always like put deadlines for you. When you go to school, like everything has been done by another person who has like set up everything for you, so you know exactly what you do. And you know when the teacher tells you, okay, you have to do that for next week, or you have to do that for a month, you have to do this transcription or whatever it is, like how difficult it may be, your mind is like, okay, this has to be done, and then you do it. And that's basically, you have to do that thing, but you have to do it for yourself. But it's hard, but that's what these books teach you. Sip of coffee. So yeah, so putting up deadlines for yourself is like the best thing ever for practicing and for being productive. And to that, there was one more thing I wanted to say before I end this video. Let me think. Principles of deep work, 4-hour work week. I can't remember it right now. All right, I remembered it. Wow, that took a while. Okay, so what I want you to do after this video is to, whatever you do, if it's music or whatever, I think the people that relate to me most are musicians, so I'm gonna like talk in terms of that. So I want you to imagine that you have 2 hours per week to practice. 2 hours. If you had 2 hours per week to practice, what would you practice on? Think about that, and then just, that's what you're gonna do. So what you're gonna do is like write down what you would practice on if you only had 2 hours per week. And you would realize that's exactly what you should practice on, and because that's exactly what you want to practice on too. I mean, there are, in that 2 hours, you will like realize exactly what you need to do, because yeah, you have stuff that you have to do, but then you will like structure it in a way so that you like, so you can do exactly the things that you want to do too. And that will like do so much for your productivity. So if you only had 2 hours per week, what would you practice on? and that should determine what you should put your time into. All right, thank you. See you later. Have a nice day, evening, morning, whatever. See ya.